Determine what?
If the number of rows.
If the number of rows. So you're asking a question, you're not sure. Let's continue. If the number of rows. Continue. Yes, continue, please.
Is the same number. Wait. Determine if the number of rows in the first matrix is the same number of columns in the second matrix.
That's what we discussed last class. Is that what we discussed last class? Okay, so that is understandable. That is understandable. But I'm telling you all, I'm sensing a little bit of, not really preparing, not really following what we're doing. Okay, let's move forward. I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to call up what we did last class. I sent it already, so you have it in the group chat. That's what I noticed. I send in the videos, but I noticed how many people viewing it and not much people viewing it, and then that is what really happening. So remember that for your other courses and for the maths, okay, you have is a technique where it is multiplying matrices. So here you have an example. Okay, and yeah, let's take a look at it before we move on. Multiplying matrices. Here you have the video. Take note. To determine if multiplication is possible, you have three things. Count the number of elements in the row of the first. Count the number of elements in the column of the second. If equal, yes. Let me copy this. Oh no, I'm not going to copy it. I'm just going to put it side by side. So can somebody please tell me what is my first point? What's the first thing based on what is written there? As you can see, they are looking very much identical. A 3 by 2, a 3 by 2, and a 2 by 2, and a 2 by 2. Determine if multiplication is possible. Determine if multiplication is possible. Put the colon. The conclusion will come after. You have two things to do and then the conclusion, yes or no. So can then somebody please tell me what can I write there?
The number of elements in
The number
of elements
of elements
in the row of the first matrix.
in the row of the first matrix. Let me put it in bold, uppercase, in the row, color code it. All right. In the row
And then
of the first matrix, okay, color code it first. Okay. So when you see you multiply matrices, please hear me out. Associate the word row with first. I repeat, whenever you are multiplying matrices, associate the word row with first. Now look at another thing, Nicola's study technique. I repeat that twice. I wonder how many of us took a note of it, with the intention of revising it afterwards. So that's why I'm talking about skill and note taking technique. Okay, when you sit down in a session, you have to have your note and a ready pencil to take down notes. so that you can revise it later down. And that's how learning happens, is what you do. You see, it's an activity. Learning is not something that just happened to you. It's an activity and it develops. So please take note of that. When you see you multiplying matrices, associate the word row with first. Okay? Please remember that. Once you are multiplying matrices, row first. So count the number of elements in the row of the first. How many elements are in the row of the first?
Two.
There are two of them. Okay, there are two of them. So it's a good thing we're a little, advanced, so we can slow down a bit. And please take those little advice, because it's not just for maths alone, for your other courses. What is the next move? What else we have
So
to
the
do?
number of elements
So
in
what
a
we write?
column
Right, the number
of elements in a
of
column
elements in the column.
of the second matrix.
Right, so associate the word column. Associate the word column. Okay, with what word?
The second
With
matrix.
second. Row of the first, column of the second. Whenever you multiply matrices, take note of that. That's why I heard an answer, the previous answer I heard there, when somebody was counting the number of rows. I think that person read the notes, the unit, and that's how the unit have it. But as I say, I am not promoting it like that, because I trying to promote the idea that whenever you multiply matrices, always associate the word row with first and associate the word column with second. Okay, just a minute. So as I was saying, whenever you multiply matrices, always associate the word row with first, column with second, and there's going to be some kind of consistency. How many numbers? How many elements?
So two.
Two.
Two. Two also. Okay, let's count them. That's the first matrix, the row of the first. 1, 2. Okay. The second matrix, column 1, 2. You can choose any row, you can choose any column. Okay. If you choose the other row, 1, 2, 1, 2. One suffice. So now we can conclude that they are the same. Those two values are the same. Those two counts we did are the same, equal. So equal, or just to write in a complete sentence. How would you write it? How would you say it? What would one of you all phrase it? Anybody? How would you phrase it? Anybody? How would you phrase it? I want to
So
know it.
both matrices are equal.
Say that again.
Both matrices are equal.
Both matrices are equal. So that's what you're thinking. Think about what you just said. You said both matrices are equal. Is that what these two observations say?
Okay, so the row and the column of both matrices are equal.
The row and the column of both matrices are equal. The row and the column of both matrices are equal. Is that what is happening there? Is that what we have just proven? By doing that, we have proven that the row and the column of both matrices are equal.
No.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, one question.
Yes.
Now, why we say the row and the column? Isn't the element of the row?
Well, that's why I'm inquiring. I am
Is
probing
the
to see how some of us are thinking it so we can discuss it.
because it's the element of the row and the element of the column. They
Right.
are equal.
Okay. So that's what we are discussing. So you
Oh,
see, we doing assignment 6. Assignment 6, you can submit it next week Monday, and we have 1.5 hours. We'll probably it sometime have gone. So this is revision. So I'm slowing down now, and I just want each and every one of us get an opportunity to say what you're thinking so we can discuss it, so I can know if you're thinking it properly. If not, if you are sure, if somebody's sure they know what they're thinking is correct, just be a little silent and allow somebody else to talk so that they can see if how they're seeing it is correct. You see. So what you said is good, what you said is okay, but for those of us that know it already, like silence a little bit, let the others voice out to see if what they're thinking. Okay, so those two observations is not totally accurate. That's not what we did there. We counted the number of elements. The number of elements. You see, you have a row, and in that row have elements. 1, 2. You have a column, and in that column have elements 1, 2. So it's not about the row and the column are equal. Okay, the number of elements in the row of the first is equal to the number of elements, okay, in the column of the second. So it is very important to mention number of elements in your analysis. Okay, so please take note of that. You will need that in 115. Bam, as soon as you go in 115, you're going to confront matrices again. Okay, so that's the whole idea why 117 and 102 linked with